And 17's Eitan Wallace here. Thank you for being with us tonight. Of course, a big day across our nation, and joining me here in studio live, 17 News Republican analysts, we have to the right here on screen, Republican analyst Cathy Abernathy, and to the left, Democratic analyst Neel Sannappa. Thank you both for being here tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. So let's start right away with Cathy. Have to ask you, it's the same as our 17 News interactive feedback poll. Is President Donald Trump responsible for what we saw at the Capitol today?
Well, I guess you'd have to say that Joe Biden and the Democratic Party were responsible for what happened last summer, where violence went on in cities for month after month after month, and it wasn't until about September that I heard a Democrat actually condemn it. This was pure, wrong violence, bad people, and they should be arrested and the law books thrown at them. That also should have happened last summer, and I think the more people see that you can get away with stuff, including murder, basically, and not get arrested and not get condemned, this stuff's only going to encourage. It started in May, went on June, July, August, 2 weeks ago in Portland. This kind of thing goes on, and people don't see them getting arrested.
So a few things here, though, a few things. Number one, I do have the quote from the president's rally this morning. Remember, he had a rally before this happened at the Capitol. So the rally, he said, "We will never give up." I'm quoting him here. Quote, "We will never concede. It does not happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. Our country has had enough." And he concluded, we're not going to take it anymore. And then, those people, he encouraged them to walk to the Capitol. So to the original question, is the president responsible here for what we saw today?
How is what you just read making him responsible? He said, we're not going to quit, we're going to keep fighting this. And what he laid out, I thought the best I've ever heard him, which is what his complaints were about the elections process. And whether you say, well, a court didn't do anything, the people that can do something about it are the state legislators, and the pressure has to be put on them. And that's, I didn't hear one thing he said there that he hasn't said for months and for 4 years about fighting the system. So it's a cheap political answer to put this on Donald Trump. These are bad people willing to shoot, push, shove, go through police barricades. Now that isn't the same as the president saying, let's fight voter fraud.
Right. Okay, thank you. I hear you there. Neel, response.
Yeah, so just as Cathy mentioned, that the president wants these folks to put pressure. Now, of course, it's state legislatures that actually decide how the votes are tallied and then go through to Congress, right? Congress was trying to approve Joe Biden to be the president-elect and to take over office. And Donald Trump incited these folks by telling them, we're going to continue to pressure, right? And this is their form of pressure. They're breaking into the Capitol. They're antagonizing, and they're going up against the police, against everybody that's in that Capitol. Even Kevin McCarthy's Facebook today, right? If you look at what his statement was, a bunch of people are calling him a rhino and spineless and things like that because he's not supporting the so-called patriots that are at the steps of the Capitol today. And so, yes, Donald Trump did this. He didn't just do this to himself or to the folks at the Capitol. He did this to the United States of America. He did this to our democracy, that people don't trust our democratic process so much to the point they're ready to be violent.
Well, and you mentioned Congressman McCarthy there. I want to bring up a viewer email we received. Viewer email here, and the viewer email states, and I'm going to read it, quote, "I have been a registered Republican for over 50 years. You see it there, but now I'm going to register as an independent. Congressman McCarthy has gone too far. He is helping to destroy our democracy by still helping Trump. All of the elections were legal. I will never support McCarthy or his cronies ever again. I will do all I can to help defeat any Republicans." That's a pretty strong email there that we got today. Now, I have to ask Cathy, does this viewer have a point? Leader McCarthy has arguably been the president's top ally, staunch supporter, friend, you could say, in Congress during the last 4 years. And he rarely publicly disagreed with the president. So is McCarthy partly responsible for what we're seeing happen in this country?
What's it got to do with these people who stormed through a Capitol? What did Kevin McCarthy have to do with that?
Well,
Nothing.
That's my question is...
Nothing.
Well, did he...
Nothing. Why do you pick Kevin McCarthy out as someone who could have stopped this? These people, whoever's doing this is not the whole crowd that was there. I heard the president's speech, and I saw the faces that there, and those aren't the faces that I see up there. I see violent, criminal activity. That's what the same thing you all witnessed May, June, July, August, September through Christmas around the country. Seattle, Portland, Chicago, New York, everywhere. This stuff was going on, and it wasn't ever condemned like it's going on right now, and no one put it on Joe Biden. But the immediate reaction from the Democrats is, let's put it on Donald Trump. Let's put it on Kevin McCarthy, your person there, whoever that is. You know, that's ridiculous to think that Kevin McCarthy has done something to make somebody want to storm that Capitol building.
Well, no, I'm not. And my question actually isn't that he did something. It's actually the opposite. That he did not do anything. That he
what
didn't.
Could he do to stop those people?
Well, my question is. Well, no, my question, Cathy, here is that when the president would say things like when the looting happens, the shooting happens. When the president would say things over the last few years where he says, I'd like to punch that guy in the face. He said that on February 23rd, 2016 at a rally at an organizer. Where was McCarthy? Where were the Republican leaders to say, we're standing up to this, this isn't democracy?
The president said, I want to punch somebody in the face.
He said, I have it right here.
Okay, and then you pulled that and saved it for all these years because it's so important. It's tied into today. This man is a colorful entertainer, and he became president. And he speaks very forcefully. I understand it. But that doesn't make somebody go out and shoot somebody and climb over police barricades. That's criminal. There's a big, huge difference. And Kevin McCarthy didn't have anything he disagreed with Trump on over the last 4 years. He had a wonderful legislative program, and the things the president did helped the economy, helped the black economy, helped the brown economy, helped everybody. So it's been a great 4 years, but he didn't get reelected according to the numbers that we're seeing. And when we get to talking about Georgia, I'll talk to you about witnesses in there and what they saw last night.
And I'll give you the final word on Georgia, and you mentioned Georgia. Okay. Let's chat about Georgia. Neel?
Really quickly,
sure.
Eitan, I just want to respond to all of this. Just in general, if we remember what happened in Charlottesville, I think a lot of this started then when Trump said, there's fine people on both sides. Now, he told people to go home in his later comments today, right? But he also said, I love you, things like I appreciate the support, all of that kind of stuff. I don't think that is him rebuking what's happening at the Capitol. I think he likes that people are up in arms, that they're trying to, quote, save his presidency. Well, 7 million more people voted for Joe Biden. And to say that the violence that happened over the summer, or what people are calling the violence that happened over the summer, is any fault of the Democratic Party or Joe Biden is just, it's not a logical comparison whatsoever. Because someone died, and people who have been over-policed and over-prosecuted, African Americans in this country, stood up and said, we don't want you over-policing us. We don't want to see more folks killed in the streets. And they protested. And I don't see how it is white privilege to consider that and someone losing by 7 million votes and saying, oh, we need to storm the Capitol now and take it over because they're not letting us who, voted. He was outvoted by 7 million votes. And for them to compare what happened to George Floyd, to what happened to poor old Donald Trump, he lost, he was rejected by the people again, first time 3 million votes, this time 7 million votes, to compare that to is disgusting.
Right. I wasn't comparing it to George Floyd's death.
That's what started those protests,
No,
Cathy.
What went on all summer was violent people destroying police headquarters, shooting and killing a cop in Oakland. All that went on. That black life didn't matter. But everybody else, they did all that violence. That wasn't George Floyd, and that didn't make him get better, and that isn't going to change police law. But what is going to change police is honest people behaving properly, which is not what we saw in the Capitol today and not what we saw all summer. It had nothing to do with a Black Lives Matter. It had to do with violence. And violence is wrong, no matter who does it.
Okay,
I don't think anybody's arguing that.
Okay, so it seems like you both are in agreement that violence is wrong no matter what. Now, let me quickly ask Georgia. We see 2 Democrats now projected to win in that state, flipping the balance of power in the Senate. I want to give Cathy the last word, so I'm going to start with you. What was your reaction when you heard this kind of a huge deal, history in the making here in Georgia?
Right. Yeah, I was very happy. Shout out to Kevin McCarthy for being the first person, or to be the first major politician to disagree with Trump on the $2,000 and blocking that from unanimous consent. And then Mitch McConnell also blocked a vote to actually give relief to the people.
And so that helped.
I think that helped folks in Georgia, along with the amazing organizers that are on the ground in Georgia doing all of that work to get votes out. They won in November, and those folks need to be credited with this one as well. It's amazing what they were able to do, what they were able to accomplish in the South and in Georgia, and I'm really proud of all those organizers out there. And Now the Democrats are going to have the Senate, and it won't be just 2 years of Mitch McConnell blocking everything. We'll actually get to see some progress in this country.
And Cathy, final word on Georgia. Where do you think that the agenda goes from here? How will this impact the Biden administration? And you know, as a Republican, what was your response finding out 2 Republicans?
Well, I'm waiting for the big thank you to Donald Trump because he proposed the $2,000 per person. So I guess
actually it was Bernie Sanders and other senators
months
and months ago.
No, not after the vote.
All right,
not
well,
after the vote.
months
Not after the $600 vote.
But yeah,
no,
final word on Georgia,
I'll tell you, there is as much trouble that Trump talked about today, witnessed by 3 people in Kern County who've been working in Georgia, watching how sloppy. A lot of this is just poor, sloppy handling of ballots and the ability for things to go wrong. But yeah, it was going to be close. It was close. A hairline kind of split between the races. And now we'll see what the Democrats are going to do about it. Are they going to, the 2 campaign races, in my opinion, I had a lot of problems with what I saw in terms of the way they handled issues. But we will now see Kamala Harris will be able to call the shots in the Senate. And she is the most liberal on record voting member of the U.S. Senate. So we'll see what comes out.
All righty, we will see. But thank you so much, Neel Sannappa, Cathy Abernathy. A fiery but a democratic, respectful debate tonight. Really appreciate both of you being here.
Thank
really,
you.
really
Okay,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
All right. Well, financial shot in the arm could be coming to millions of Californians. Ahead on 17 News at 6, details on a proposed stimulus payment for some of the state's low-income residents. And still here ahead at 5.